Recently engaged and ready to plan your perfect wedding? Let's make it unforgettable with Classic Party Rentals of Virginia. From gorgeous tents to stylish tables, chairs, linens, and even stages, we've got everything to bring your big day to life. Our expert team makes planning easy and stress-free with personalized consultations and layouts designed just for you. Visit ClassicPartyRentalsVO.com. ClassicPartyRentalsVO.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and here it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wiper? eBay has all the parts that could not come. Just beautiful.
Millions of signs, each with a story. eBay. Things people love. With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different.
Babbel is designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Through Sauce class at Babbel.
Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. Babbel.com. February is famous for presidents' birthdays. Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, and believe it or not, mine too. This is Rob Nicholson, president of East Coast Appliance. And we're having a huge President's Day sale to celebrate. Save up to 50% off Virginia's largest in-stock inventory of new appliances, or save even more with up to 75% off our huge scratch and dent inventory. All with same-day, next-day delivery and installation available. It's the President's Day sale at East Coast Appliance. Hey, send me a birthday card. At East Coast Appliance, we used to shop all over town to make sure we were getting the best price. Now we use AI to make the process easier and a whole lot faster. We have electronic price tags on all of our appliances that scan our competitors' prices and then check our prices to make sure we're lower. We take our best price guarantee seriously, and this helps to save our customers time and money. So if you're in the market for a new appliance, just stop by your local East Coast Appliance Superstore and see for yourself. East Coast Appliance, the best price, it's free.
Your home for Richmond Spiders athletics all year round. W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV HD2 Richmond. We are 106.1 ESPN. Richmond, it's time to get your morning going. Richmond Sports Talk by Richmond sports fans. This is Fitz the Bill with Jack Fitzpatrick. All live from the capital of the Commonwealth. Where sharp analysis, your cause, and Richmond always come first. If it's making headlines locally or nationally, we're breaking it down. Now, live from the capital of the Commonwealth, Fitz the Bill with your host, Jack Fitzpatrick.
Good Tuesday, February 10th morning. Appreciate you clocking in. Get your day started with us right here on Fitz the Bill. We're streaming live on the ESPN Richmond app and ESPNRichmond.com and Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you want to watch the stream, just type in ESPN Richmond. We'll pop right on up and you can watch the stream. You can be part of it by liking, commenting, and of course, subscribing. And of course, you can be part of the show the old-fashioned way by calling in or texting in to the Radkey Insurance phone line, 804-327-0888. And to start today's show off, this may end up really just being a therapy session for me because this might just be coming from the fan side where the kid in me who has gone through this on multiple occasions throughout my sports-loving life is showing through. But the way the NFL world and the general media at large has just moved past this Super Bowl is crazy to me. Seattle won the Super Bowl, and it feels as if the conversation has immediately shifted to next season. Or the conversation is about how Sam Darnold still isn't good, or how the Seahawks just lucked their way into a Super Bowl. And I get it, the conversation shifting to next season isn't abnormal, but for me, the abnormal thing is the lack of hype around this Super Bowl. It wasn't a traditionally exciting Super Bowl, but we saw one of the most dominant defensive showings in Super Bowl history. Not just since the year 2000, not just of the last decade. That was one of the most dominant defensive showings in Super Bowl history, and was one of the more unexpected dominant teams in the modern era. This is a team that came in, we talked about it in the lead up to the Super Bowl. That Super Bowl was one of the most unlikely, if not the most unlikely Super Bowl according to preseason odds. Both of these teams had win totals below 7.5. And the Seahawks team came out and they dominated this season. They lost 3 games by a combined 9 points. Seattle had the 9th best point differential across an entire season of any Super Bowl winning team in the Super Bowl era. And according to DVOA is just a measure of a team's efficiency by comparing success on every single play to league average based on situation and opponent. It's one of my favorite stats out there because it gets rid of so much noise. According to DVOA, the Seahawks were the 3rd best Super Bowl champion of all time, behind only the 1985 Chicago Bears and the 1991 Washington Redskins. This Seahawks team deserves respect, deserves to be talked about as one of the best teams we have seen. Seattle also played the 8th toughest schedule in the league by DVOA. They lost those 3 games by a combined 9 points. And look, if you really want to get granular with it, Seattle only lost a season series with 1 team. And I know that's not necessarily how we always talk about NFL scheduling, but if you really zoom out and look, they played 3 games against the Rams, 3 games against the 49ers, and they went 2-1 in both of those. So the only team they lost the season series with was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Despite all of that, we've tossed the Seahawks aside, and the general public is acting like what we saw was normal, and now we're focusing on the 2026 season. We'll just completely move past Super Bowl 60 because Sam Darnold didn't have an amazing game. But what I do want everyone to remember, he had the best game of his career in the NFC Championship game. A game that most agreed, the same general public that's saying he had a bad Super Bowl, they all agreed that the NFC Championship was essentially the Super Bowl. The goalposts just keep moving on Sam Darnold. People refuse to accept that he's now a top 10 quarterback in this league. He's a guy that wins a whole heck of a lot of football games. He's a chameleon. One of the best things a quarterback can do, he can win the game in a lot of different ways, and he can play any style you may need. Without a star quarterback performance, with a Super Bowl MVP that didn't account for a touchdown, with the defensive score coming from arguably the 7th best player on that side of the ball, people are tossing the Seahawks championship aside. And to me, as a fan, as someone who went through my entire child life having the Seahawks thrown aside, that's irksome. Because I remember the talk around the Seahawks growing up was never about how good the team was, even that 2013, 2014 team. It was always about why the opponent lost. Growing up, and I get it, it's the curse of rooting for a team on the opposite coast, but growing up, I'd be lucky to even hear anything about the Seahawks, locally or nationally. Call it the East Coast bias. But here they were, winning a Super Bowl. The conversation has seemingly moved right on, not truly highlighting the utter dominance this team had on display in the biggest game of the season and the whole season. We witnessed arguably the greatest season from a Super Bowl champion in the new millennium. If you're a subscriber to DVOA, we witnessed the greatest season from a Super Bowl champion in the new millennium. And yet all we want to do is move on, talk about next season, talk about why Darnold doesn't deserve an extension, why Darnold actually isn't that good, comparing him to Trent Dilfer or Brad Johnson, which is lunacy. We want to talk about anything other than the pure dominance and greatness we witnessed on Sunday. We'll get thoughts from Mike Lewis Jr., who's joining us in just a few minutes. He'll be joining for the rest of hour number 1 here live in the studio. We also want to hear from you on the Radkey Insurance phone line, 804-327-0888. Let's update you with some other things that happen around the wide world of sports.
This is It's Fitz the Bill Morning Update. Getting you caught up on some of the biggest stories in sports.
Charles Bediaco's college basketball career is over again after an Alabama circuit judge denied his motion for a preliminary injunction yesterday. It ends the 7-foot center season with the Crimson Tide. Last night, the number one team in the country fell. Kansas handed Arizona its first loss of the season, 82-78. The Jayhawks got the massive win without star Darren Peterson, who missed the game with a sickness. A fight between the Detroit Pistons and Charlotte Hornets in the third quarter of last night's game resulted in 4 ejections. Charlotte's Moussa Diabate and Miles Bridges were tossed along with Detroit's Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart. Hornets coach Charles Lee was ejected in the fourth quarter after he had to be restrained from going after an official while arguing a call. The Pistons went on to win the game 110-104. Brandon Miller had some thoughts on the fight postgame. It was fun. All right. Other scores from around the NBA. In the NFL, more has come out around Atlanta Falcons rookie James Pierce Jr. He allegedly crashed his vehicle under one being driven by WNBA player Lakia Jackson multiple times, struck a police officer with the vehicle while evading arrest, according to the criminal complaint obtained by ESPN from the Miami-Dade County State Attorney's Office. Pierce was arrested Saturday in Florida on 5 felony charges. He was released from the Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Center on Sunday after posting a $20,000 bond. In the Olympics, we have an update on Lindsey Vonn. She said yesterday in a post on Instagram that she suffered a complex tibia fracture that, quote, will require multiple surgeries to fix properly. This comes after the crash in the downhill event on Sunday. And in MLB, ahead of pitchers and catchers reporting in the next 48 hours, we have some quick news. The Philadelphia Phillies are trying to find a new home for outfielder Nick Castellanos ahead of their first full squad workout of spring training amid some manager and player tension. The Pittsburgh Pirates have agreed to a 1-year, $12 million deal with veteran slugger Marcell Ozuna. Sources confirmed that to ESPN's Jeff Passan. And the Red Sox acquired third baseman Caleb Durbin from Milwaukee in a 6-player trade Monday that sent left-hander Kyle Harrison back to the Brewers, ending Boston's winter-long search for a right-handed hitting infielder on the eve of spring training opening. So that's what you may have missed around the wide world of sports overnight. All of the attention in the world of sports, I think, is focused in on the Detroit Pistons and the Charlotte Hornets last night. Allen, a massive brawl. Miles Bridges was throwing punches to anyone who wanted to get it. And I don't know what your thoughts are on this whole fight, but I was not a fan of what J.D. Bickerstaff said after the game. J.D. Bickerstaff, after the game, put all of the blame on the Charlotte Hornets, saying it was their fault for starting it, and all his guys were doing was retaliating, and anyone has a right to punch back when they've been punched first.
You definitely have a right to...
Yeah, but you don't have a... Look, in my view, I think the Pistons started it. I think they I think it was Jalen Duren headbutted Diabate underneath the basket, and then it just escalated from there, and then they had that one player come off the bench and try to fight Miles Bridges. That was a crazy melee.
So my rules of engagement say that once you invade my space in an aggressive manner, I have every right to create separation. They decided to do the headbutts, that's fine. At no point, and anybody listening to my voice can probably agree, at no point in any athlete's life is getting mushed in the face ever an acceptable thing. I don't care what we're doing. If you're competing and you mush me, we have to fight. Like, the game's over, call the police and all that other nonsense, everybody rush off, break it up, like, we have to fight. So the reaction from the Hornet player, to me, was warranted once he got mushed in the face. I don't know what Duren was doing. I mean, at that point again, you mushed this man in the face, you better protect yourself. He kind of seemed like he was trying to take the more professional way out of it, but, like, you started this. And after that, things just went left. I mean, teammates are going to defend their teammates. Bridges is going to defend his teammate. You just pushed his teammate in the face. And so Stewart, he's a nutcase. He's probably just looking to fight. He's he's going to come off the bench to defend his teammate because you just punched during that scuffle. So yeah, like it's gonna keep escalating. But to act like it's not 50-50 here, it's 50-50. Like, you didn't have to headbutt him, he didn't have to mush you. This is where we lived it.
J.B. Biggerstaff on Isaiah Stewart getting involved in the fight. He was the guy that came off of the bench to swing on Miles Bridges. J.B. Biggerstaff, the head coach of the Pistons, said, quote, Duran and Stu consider themselves to be brothers. If you run two guys at one guy and you've already crossed the line, human instinct tells him to protect his little brother.
Nah, I mean, his little brother is a big brother, so he doesn't really need protection.
I think it's kind of crazy, Biggerstaff. And look, maybe the Pistons are leaning back into their bad boy thing where they want to become the villain of it all, because Biggerstaff taking this aggressive of approach post-game, I think he's going to get fined. I think he's going to get in trouble.
Because you're like, what, 28, 21? Yeah, I'm 40. I bet you if we look back on our NBA film, at least once a decade we can point to a Pistons fight.
And you can point to the Pistons always kind of having this chip on their shoulder.
This is who they are. I said three things there for certain. Death, taxes, and the Pistons just doing the most.
And here we are. I thought we were getting a team that we might be able to like with Cade Cunningham and all of these young guys, these plucky guys who are dominating the Eastern Conference. I'm like, all right, this could be a team we can get behind. And then this happened, and I'm like, you're doing this to the Hornets. And I get the Hornets with an 8-game win streak, but it's like, you don't beat up on the team that stinks. I mean, you hold that fight for when you play the Lakers.
I don't understand anywhere south of Canada where you can mush somebody, and especially basketball. God, in football, you got the helmet on. It's different, but like basketball, baseball, even hockey, it might be a little different because you got like a mask on, but like, you made contact with my face.
We just got tangled up underneath the basket. Jalen Duran, you put your head on mine and push it further into mine. I'm going to defend myself.
I feel like as an adult, getting mushed is probably in the top three most disrespectful things that could happen.
I also think it is just... Maybe I'm placing the blame in the wrong spot, but like the refs didn't do a good job, and the coaches did a terrible job of breaking that up. I don't. You see Miles Bridges get around his one coach because his coach took his eyes off of him.
The Hornets coaches were not good.
Miles Bridges literally in the middle of swinging. A coach pulls him off, and then the coach, who knows he's got this hot head, he's holding back, looks the other way and takes his hand off of Bridges. Guess what he does? He goes and runs to someone else to invite someone else.
And being the person that would be first to run off the sideline, I know in the teams I've played on, when things like that happen, we always had a coach who just knew the one person to grab.
Yes.
I would assume it would be Isaiah Stewart who's the person that I grabbed. Yes. And I saw the coach grabbing somebody else. I'm like, dude.
And Isaiah Stewart,
he wasn't even dressed to play, man. There's a photo of him. He got a lead grab.
Yes, I was shocked that we got that type of move. Like four ejection.
I don't think he's coming back into the league.
No, I think Stu is staying in the league. I think, look, it's the Pistons. They're the bad boy Pistons. They need an enforcer.
I respect it. By all means, I respect it. But like when people come off the bench, we get malice in the ballot.
Yeah, it's true. And we almost got malice in the palace in that one because they took that fight into the front row of the Hornets fans.
I'm very proud of Charlotte. I expected Charlotte to throw back.
Have you been to a Hornets game recently?
I've not been to a Hornets game.
That front row is just a bunch of rich people that don't even watch the game.
Well, I will tell you this.
If that had gone to the 400 section, that'd be a different story. I would have been up there drinking my
ACC at the ACC championship. Let's like Duke and North Carolina get into it. We had it on running off the field, but let it spill into the crowd at the Spectrum Center during the ACC championship. We didn't get
take it to Bojangles Coliseum, and then things might get real now.
You're gonna get all that you want as far as entertainment out of that. But yeah, the NBA. I know we want this emotion. I would be the first to admit. Yeah. I was a part of me was like, yes, I got two teams that care. I've been begging for that all season. But in the same breath, though, it's like you know you went too far. Yeah. You know you went too far. Anytime you're pressed up against fans and stuff like that, and security, cops, coaches, like it shouldn't take all that.
It took way too much. That was a tough scene for the NBA last night. Tough scene for Charles Lee then too to get ejected later on in the game for just arguing the call. You know, Tensions were already a little high there, so he was going to get tossed for that. But 4 ejections last night from the Pistons-Hornets game. Who would have thought?
Those are my Pistons, man.
Who would thought we'd be talking Pistons-Hornets on a Tuesday in February? But here we are. All right.
Get it together.
Let's get a quick break in here. We'll step aside Lake Lewis Jr., our Raising Up Commanders Insider, host of the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. You can hear that each and every Tuesday and Thursday right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. He'll be joining us live in studio on the other side. Stay locked right here on Fitz the Book.
Weather reports on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, brought to you by Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, a premier Linux dealer, online at HermanAllenPlumbing.com.
Hey, this is Randy with South Park Carpet and Flooring Outlet in Colonial Heights. With the new year, it's a great time to beautify your home with new floors so you can enjoy them all year long. Why shop South Park Carpet and Flooring? We always have great prices, huge inventory, quick installation, and in-house finance. No matter if it's 1 room or 20 rooms, we take the stress out of your next flooring project. South Park Carpet and Flooring, 1217 Boulevard, between the post office and the police station. Or check us out online at southparkcarpet.com.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter? Right? And the best part? Except Discover. Except Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer. Oh, yeah. Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants? These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on a February 2025 Nielsen report.
Access to education changes lives. That's why National University provides flexible online and hybrid programs from associate to doctorate degrees. Since 1971, NU was built to serve non-traditional, working, and military learners nationwide. NU understands the demands of work, family, and service. Each year, more than 130,000 learners trust National University to move forward. Visit nu.edu to learn more.
It's the grand opening of RVA's newest destination, West Gary Sports Bar, located in the heart of the fan district. A perfect spot to meet your friends, to catch a game on dozens of high-def TVs, enjoy the old-school arcade games, play football, or take a ride in the racing simulator. The chef-inspired menu features classic bar favorites, plus specialty international dishes. Open for lunch and dinner at the corner of Cary and Robinson Street. Stop by today at the new West Cary Sports Bar, online at westcarysportsbarrva.com. Henrico Sports and Entertainment Authority Executive Director Dennis Bigmeyer joins Bob Black for the Henrico Huddle, ESPN Richmond's newest monthly feature.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can choose the best coverage option for you. Because you know you. Like, you know you can't cook. You're not one of those people who say that they can, but when people come over for dinner, they find out the hard way, you can't. You can't even microwave popcorn, and that's literally just one button. Plus, measuring and patience are huge parts of cooking, and that's just not you. Only you know you. So get coverage options within your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates. Pricing coverage match limited by state law.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. That was different.
Babbel is designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Through Sauce et Classe à Babbel.
Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
106.1 ESPN Traffic.
The easterly lanes are blocked off to the north I-95, joining from just before Woods Edge. Causing some delays from Temple Avenue. We're also seeing some delays heading west on 64 between Mechanicsville Turnpike and 95. And beware of a crash heading north on Chippenham Parkway, near Wilson Boulevard overpass.
106.1 ESPN in your pocket. Download the app for on-demand shows, live updates, podcasts, and sports takes hotter than a game-winning drive. Your team, your way. Get it now.
Welcome back in on a Tuesday morning. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, Allen alongside Lake Lewis Jr. joining us in studio, host of the Lake Lewis Jr. Show right here every Tuesday and Thursday on 106.1 ESPN Richmond from 6 to 7 p.m. Lake, good morning. How you doing after the Super Bowl?
I'm good. An uneventful first half, or uneventful actually, like 55.
Very eventful if you're a defensive fan. Very eventful.
Well, that was my kind of game, and I was hoping that it was going to be a defensive war. And kudos to the Patriots, because I thought their defense played championship caliber football. Just their offense was bad.
Christian Gonzalez played some top-end defense for me. It was 9-0 going into halftime because Christian Gonzalez kept it 9-0. And look what their defense did. It's got to be demoralizing to look up to the scoreboard, see it be 9-0. It easily could have been 21-0. But because of a couple of key plays your defense made, it's still within reach. And you look at me like, offense hasn't even gotten 100, hasn't even gotten 60 yards of total offense going into the locker room. That's got to be demoralizing. No, that wasn't a bad bunny through the locker room, although the offense can't do anything.
Well, I'm thinking that they were probably thinking to themselves going into halftime, as horrible as we look, we're only down, a couple field goals. And basically, if they would have scored, you would be right back in that football game. But obviously, they couldn't move the ball in Seattle at all.
I think both of us were talking about how we expected that Super Bowl to be a defensive slugfest. I don't think I expected Seattle's defense, though, to be that dominant. They had one of the most dominant defensive performances in the Super Bowl we've ever seen. And I know the final score doesn't necessarily reflect it. The Super Bowl in 2013 with the Legion of Boom was more of a gaudy difference between the Broncos and the Seahawks. But that game on Sunday felt like there was never in doubt. There was nothing the Patriots could do.
No, I mean, their wing offensive line, Newman's offensive line, especially on the left side, those two rookies, I mean, they struggled. Will Campbell's going to be a good tackle in this league, but you could just tell what he was going up against each week throughout the playoffs. It was a gauntlet. When you get to the Super Bowl and you have these guys coming at you, DeMarcus Lawrence and company, they were all over him. And you could just see they were bullying him. They were just stronger than him. So again, you're right. It didn't look like they could do anything when it mattered. And unfortunately, Seattle took their foot off the gas at the end, and it kept them out of the history books as far as a potential shutout, which I thought that they were doing for.
I thought they were going to try and get that real hard, but then, the Matt Collins catch was phenomenal. I think once they scored, they kind of said, all right, I guess we'll just keep everything in front of us and we'll prevent defense.
I hate it. I hate it.
I hate it too, because I'm in the camp of do what got you here, don't change up what you're doing. And if you've beaten them one way 75% of the game, don't change it up. But
I think McDonald was showing some grace. I truly believe that. I think it was like, okay, you knew they were going to be the Super Bowl champions after the first quarter. So it was almost like, okay, let's not pour it on here.
You came in and you said congrats on the win and everything, and thank you, but also, woe is me. I know this is so difficult saying this in a Washington Commanders market. But man, that game, leading up to the Super Bowl, I've never felt so confident in the game. And there was, of course, the nerves of like, oh no, it's a football game, one weird bounce, it's an oblong-shaped ball, who knows how this is going to happen. But at the core of myself, I was like, Seattle's defense is way too good for what the Patriots have put on tape the last month. And then the first drive happened, and it was just like, they're not winning. Like, they aren't winning. I'm content. We scored a field goal, and I don't think the Patriots are going to score again.
Remember what I said last week was the first team to get to 100 yards rushing was a football game. And that's just because their defenses are so good. And Kenny Walker was a one-man gang. And a lot of people, you kind of were in that camp early. You weren't sure if they had that back that can take them where they needed to go. And I think, with Charbonnet getting hurt, it was almost like a blessing in disguise, because now you unveiled a true feature back.
I said that yesterday. I said the Patriots may have won the game, probably not won the game, but may have been a little bit closer, because in a weird way, the Seahawks throughout the season, you saw as the season went on, Kenneth Walker, his ability just outshine Charbonnet. Charbonnet is a great between the tackles. I'm going to get 30 yards back. Yeah, just a bruiser. Yeah. And Kenneth Walker's the flashy, fun guy who's going to... I mean, there was a play in that Super Bowl where he walked to the line of scrimmage and then decided where to go and hit it for a 100-yard gain. It's like, but sometimes he gets tackled in the backfield in those scenarios. And I think his boom or bust ability is what Seattle liked about Zach Charbonnet, was he was just consistent. But Charbonnet getting hurt forced them to keep it with Kenneth Walker, and in some of those scenarios, it was clear Charbonnet scenarios where Walker shined. And he probably got himself paid a couple of Spotrac just did a contract projection right before the Super Bowl, I think it was. It was a 4-year, 30 some odd million, about $8 million a year for Kenneth Walker on the open market. I think that's a lot of money. Yeah, it would be the 12th highest paid. I think that bumps up there. I think he bought himself $2 million a year extra.
I was going to say, I put him in double digits as far as the millions. So what's the eight digits? Yeah. Because I think that he's proven, if anything, can you name 5 other backs in the NFL, at least right now, that are better than Kenneth Walker? You can't. I mean, you just can't. I mean, there's probably 2 or 3 to jump off the board, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon. But I mean, once you start getting to 3, 4, 5, there's no reason why you can't put Kenneth Walker as far as his body of work this year. I mean, he's a violent runner. He's fast. And he looks all the bit of that, he's a second-round draft pick, right? Yep. He looks all the bit of why they took him so high.
Alan was saying it, I think, in the lead-up to the game, where he was like, we're seeing why he should be considered a premier back in this league. And it was on full display. His play was phenomenal. Charbonnet getting hurt, kind of a weird blessing in disguise for the Seahawks offense.
So if you're Seattle, you have to pay him, right?
I think if you're Seattle, you offer him what I would do, because you've got so much money, and you've got to spend that money somehow.
You got a lot,
but you've got a lot of
players you got to spend it on too.
You only got a couple of key guys though.
Witherspoon,
outside moving past this year, 100%. Yes. So this offseason, you gotta think down the line with the extensions coming for Devin, the extension coming for Jason.
Normally, do you just give him new contracts?
I think for JSN, for both of them, I think you just throw on extensions that whatever that weird funkiness that the NFL does, where you sign an extension, then all of a sudden the extension a couple of years later. Okay. Yeah. I think that's what you do for those two guys. But just speaking of this offseason alone, the only guys that are hitting free agency, Rashid Shaheed, who you just traded for, so you'll probably resign. You've got K9, you've got Reek Willing. I think you let Reek Willing walk.
Do you really?
I don't think Mike McDonald loves him. I think he's a little bit of a head case. And guess who got burned for that touchdown from Daniel?
But that was a tough throw. But Willing, I think it's hard finding 6'4" cornerbacks, man,
who runs a 4-2.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So, head case, you win the Super Bowl with that head case, so maybe use your head case that you deal with.
That's a good one, but if they let Reek Willing walk, I wouldn't be upset at that. Some other guys, they've got Boy Mafe, one of their edge rushers, Kobe Bryant, their starting safety, they've got to bring back. But only, 5 real guys, and none of them are top of the market values. Right. So for K9, this is my long-winded way to say, I'm probably giving him
DeMarcus Lawrence. Did he sign
a 2-year deal, so he's under contract for next season.
You do realize those 2-year deals, how guys work.
Well, you want that extension now.
You want it now, especially after you've capitalized.
You've got some work to do this offseason, but technically he's still under contract for next year, which is my way to say, I'm probably offering Kenneth, I'm not a GM, but I'm only going 4-year deal worth $12 million average annual value. 44, and I'm front loading it where I can get out of it after the 3rd year.
What's the signing bonus? That's all. Football players are different from, NBA, Major League Baseball. You can do whatever you want. Slice your finger, cut an apple or something, and you're still getting paid forever. But if you're the NFL, it's a lot of non-guaranteed money. So the guarantee is that signing bonus. So if you're a guy like Kenneth Walker, you can, let's just say the contract says $40 million, but you're getting like 26 in signing bonus. Yeah, sign me up.
So I think that they don't have ways to make a pretty palatable offer to him that is good for both sides. I've talked at length, of course I have as a Seahawks fan, about the Seahawks side of it. I do want with you to talk a little bit about the Patriots side of it as well, because Drake May just went through maybe the worst month of his career, coming at the worst possible time. Now this entire offseason is going to be a bunch of naysayers. He's going to hear all the chirping all year. How do you think May responds to this going into 2026, going into year 3?
Well, in fairness to Drake May, it wasn't just Newman's defense that got them to the Super Bowl. I mean, we saw all throughout the playoffs him make plays when he needed to make them. Just couldn't do it against Seattle, a far more superior opponent on both sides of the ball that dictated what happened to Drake May. Let's face it, in a perfect world, the Super Bowl probably should have been Houston versus Seattle, the two best teams in football as far as defenses. But you know what happened, the train wreck of the quarterback that would happen in Houston with CJ. But I'll say this, Drake May is a really good young football player. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Seattle, through a lot of different things that you probably have never seen before. But if you're a New England fan, you have your quarterback of the future. He just took you to a Super Bowl, for God's sakes. He's the first out of that pretty good-looking 2024 draft class. But I think, not to stray here, but I think what we saw was that Drake and Bo Nix, their defenses were so dominant that they kind of kept some training wheels on them in certain areas. With Caleb and obviously with Jaden, there were no training wheels on these guys. They let it rip. We saw that last year with Jaden. Took him to the NFC Championship game. Did the most with less, in my opinion, out of any quarterback in that draft class. But going back to New England, they've got to get some more weapons for him. They have to. They've got to shore up some things in their offensive line, too. The most dominant part of their offensive line, ironically, was Richmond's own Morgan Moses. I mean, he did a really good job.
That right side was good.
Absolutely.
Left side was...
But on the other side of the ball, it was a lot to be desired, but I do think those two guys are going to be really good pros.
I think the interesting thing with Jaden Daniels and Drake May, how they both overachieved in a massive way. They both put their teams really ahead of schedule. For Jaden, it just so happened to happen in year 1, getting to the NFC Championship. For May, it happens in year 2, getting all the way to the Super Bowl. That puts them in a really tough spot now for the remainder of really their careers, because they're chasing this ghost of overachievement. And in the case of the Patriots, you're never going to get a schedule that easy. And I know we've talked about this, but let's face it.
That played into them getting to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and you're never going to have the C's part like they did in the playoffs. Not only do you not have all of the star quarterbacks in there, but you're playing Jared Stidham, you're playing C.J. Stroud, who looks like a shell of what he was his rookie year. I mean, you're playing Justin Herbert, who had their 7th string left tackle out there. For Drake May, you're always chasing that ghost of overachieving. For Jaden Daniels, you're always chasing. And it's just an interesting spot for those two guys to be in for the rest of their career.
If I'm Drake, I'm going to walk away from this feeling good about myself.
Yeah.
I got to the Super Bowl. A lot of quarterbacks who are in the Hall of Fame never sniffed the Super Bowl. So I've done something in my second year as a starter, and I just know what I need to do to get better. He's definitely got to work on his game, for sure, but he's still one of the very good quarterbacks.
Yeah, let's get a quick break in here. We'll keep talking some quarterback play and everything else in the fallout from Super Bowl 60. Stay with us right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
In the RVA since 1993, the Richmond Kickers are getting ready for another great season. Reserve your 2026 season tickets and group outings dates now and be a part of the Red Army. Sign up to become a City Stadium Plus member for discounts on game tickets and Kickers gear. To find out more about the 2026 Richmond Kickers home dates, reserve tickets, or check out the latest team news, visit us online at richmondkickers.com, and we'll see you at City Stadium.
Recently engaged and ready to plan your perfect wedding? Let's make it unforgettable with Classic Party Rentals of Virginia. From gorgeous tents to stylish tables, chairs, linens, and even stages, we've got everything to bring your big day to life. Our expert team makes planning easy and stress-free with personalized consultations and layouts designed just for you. Visit ClassicPartyRentalsVA.com. ClassicPartyRentalsVA.com.
This is advertising material.
Hi, this is John from your insurance company. We received your claim and we're denying your coverage.
They think you're good one. They're wrong. Adams
Anderson R. Travel Teams have made insurance companies pay over $2 billion. It's your turn. They fight while you heal. Over 250,000 clients. Alexander R. Travel Teams. Call now for a free consultation. 877-222-6666 or AlexWins.law.
Weather reports on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, brought to you by Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, a premier Linux dealer. Online at HermanAllenPlumbing.com. If you owe money to the IRS, they'll come after you until you are flat broke. Don't just roll over and take it. The IRS has changed. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a huge break, as much as 87%. Haven't filed a return for years? It's time for Guardian Tax. Their happy clients are celebrating.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues. Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Is tax debt ruining your life? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax understands how the IRS works. Personal or business, this is the fresh start you've been praying for. You're scared of the IRS, and for good reason. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really help me out. I would recommend them highly.
Visit GuardianTax.com or call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-505-7915. 800-505-7915. Once again, that's 800-505-7915.
Hi, Lee Erickson for SnowCountry.com. Sponsor your job on Indeed. Get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today. Heading into this new week, we got chilly nights for snow crews to touch up the trails with a quick hit from the snow guns if they like, plus several passes of the groomers for miles of corduroy that starts firm and zippy and softens nicely in those milder, sunny afternoons. Massive Upton Mall loaded up with 22 trails, nearly everything open, including summit favorites like Diamond Gym, night skiing until 9 tonight at Massive Upton. Rice Resort featuring a dozen runs, 100% open there. Day skiing till 4:30 midweek at Rice with wintergreen 27 runs. Alternative chairs from 9 to 5 on all mountain sections as they're 100% open. West Maryland with 33 runs. Snowshoe 59 trails, including the steeps of the Western Territory. Canadian Valley 26 runs. Their most open terrain in the season. More at snowcountry.com. Ruth Erickson for 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
This is one ESPN water.
It's good and dry with degrees. Sunny with a slight breeze coming in from the southwest, averaging from 1 to 3 miles per hour. We're expecting warmer temperatures today with partly sunny skies and a high of 55, with lows dropping down tonight to 34 degrees. And even the look at tomorrow, even warmer temperatures with partly cloudy skies, a high of 57 and low of 52.
Coming up on the next edition of the Sports Huddle, Bob will be live at the Robins Center where we will speak with the voice of George Mason. We'll also get you set for UVA Florida State and the start of spring training 4 until 6, 106.1 ESPN. Game on, Richmond. Crank up 106.1 ESPN for live play-by-play. Blistering hot takes and non-stop action. Your ticket to the hype. Stay dialed in.
Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill here on this Tuesday, February 10th morning. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, Allen alongside Lake Lewis Jr. joining us in studio. He's the host of the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. You hear that every single Tuesday and Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on ESPN Richmond. Lake, we've been talking a little bit about the quarterbacks, and we mentioned C.J. Stroud. I'm going to throw a curveball at you here because it is a curious spot now with how Sam Darnold may have changed the way teams look at the quarterback position. Maybe you're not as tied to your young QB. Maybe there's a guy out there that, whatever it may be, you also could take a deal with him. Maybe you just got to give him time. Sam Darnold needs time. C.J. Stroud, he has regressed in a big way each and every year. Texans have a Super Bowl winning defense, but the quarterback you can point to directly held them back. Do they keep with him and hope he gets back to what he was, or do you think the Texans should move on? I know this might be a hot taking thing, but do you think there's a world where the Texans go, you know what? Maybe we move off of him. Maybe we try and do something. There's not a lot of great options this offseason, so probably wouldn't happen this offseason. But do you see what I'm getting? There's a fork in the road when it comes to C.J. Stroud. Which side do the Texans take?
I say you go with him in the year. they did win, 8 straight games to a playoff. So, and he played a part in that, not all of it. Dion is his backup, is a guy that I think, Davis Mills at times looks like the guy we thought was coming out of Stanford, but some people projected could have been a first-round pick. So I think that their quarterback room is okay. It's solid. It is. I think you go with him one more year, you don't extend him at all. You might do this was his 5th year. He'll be going into his 4th year. Going into his 4th year. And how these things work. If you don't see it in year 4, they're not going to extend him. And you see what you can get from him. Maybe he's trade bait. But I just don't know who's out there that would make things better for them. Mac Jones isn't leaving San Francisco. They've already said they're keeping him. I just don't see anybody else out there that you can clearly bring in that is a surefire upgrade over CJ, because he has talent. The one thing I want to see from him, I want to see more fire. I want to see more personality. He's a very laid-back California kid, real religious kid, has a strong faith. Good for him, but at times, and I'm not making mockery because I have strong faith myself, but I know when I played, it wasn't my faith, it was the devil in me. and sometimes you need to see that from guys. You need to see, if you go back to that New England playoff game, everyone saw it. This guy looked like he just looked shell-shocked and showed no emotion. He was throwing interceptions up grabs. I don't want to see that from the quarterback.
And I also think there's a very fine line. It's a very difficult line to walk of having no emotions and also being slow-pulsed. If you go back to Russell Wilson, prior to everything that happened, he was known as a guy that didn't show a lot of emotion, but in the 4th quarter, he would galvanize his teammates, and
I'd see the fist pumping.
And you'd see it almost in his eyes where he becomes locked in, but he didn't show the emotion. For CJ, it looks like you don't care. And I'm not saying he does not. That's exactly what it looks like. 100%. And it's such a fine line for these quarterbacks to walk between being too emotional, not emotional enough, being locked in, showing what your facial expression is. And it's a tough spot for CJ Stroud to be in, because I think you also know the pressure with your defense, because you said it, they should have been in the Super Bowl. If they had beaten the Patriots, I think anyone has beaten that Broncos team in a blizzard with Jared Stidham. So if you're the Texans, you've got to feel like you blew a massive opportunity. Heck, if you're the Buffalo Bills, you got to feel like you blew a massive opportunity. And now where do you go from here? For the Texans, I'm in the same camp as you. Keep CJ Stroud for at least one more year, but I think that's more of a product of having a bad quarterback draft class and not having a good quarterback free agency class. And so just by default, all right, he's our best option this year. But hey, if someone becomes available in the next 12 months, Texans might be a sneaky team.
In fairness to CJ, though, he has had a couple of different coordinators.
Yes, and he is 4th in 4 years.
Yeah, so that, that's tough on the new quarterback to go through something like that and to have those expectations. But when your defense is that good, you don't need to throw the game away. And he did. When he goes to that game, it was one of the worst quarterback performances I've ever seen in anything, let alone the playoff game, from a veteran, a guy that should have known better. You didn't throw those balls up for grabs, you'd probably win that game just because your defense was that good. So I think for CJ, he's got a lot to prove. He's got to win that locker room back, because say what you want, they love him as a person because they said he's a great human being, but I don't need my quarterback to be a great human being all the time. Some of the greats were known to be the worst people to their teammates, yelling and screaming and all that, but the production was there at the end of the day.
And you win, it doesn't matter.
That's what it is, man.
You brought up Mac Jones earlier, too. I want to go to him because the Vikings are another team that I feel have a Super Bowl defense. They've got a Super Bowl defensive coordinator. They look like a team that are on the fringe. I don't think J.J. McCarthy is the answer. Could would you go out if you're the Vikings?
Too early.
Too early to be out on Jalen Hurts?
Too early.
Because it is an interesting thing with Sam Darnold, because now there's two ways teams can kind of take in this data that they just saw. You can either take it in and go, all right, well, we got to stick with our rookie quarterback for the full length of his rookie contract and then make a decision because it took so long. Or you could be in the camp of, we may not have to stick with our rookie QB for that long because there's so many good veterans out there like a Mac Jones who we can trade for. You're in the camp with JJ, stick it out with him at least for another year or two and really give him more reps.
Yeah, I think he needs more reps. I mean, he needs to see the field a lot more. I mean, he was injured his rookie campaign, didn't play. Got injured his second campaign, missed a good chunk of, I think, the first part of the season. You know, I mean, you saw flashes. You saw certain games. I mean, the Green Bay game, they came back and he showed you something. I think it was the Bears game actually in Chicago to start the season. You saw, okay, this guy has some moxie. Obviously looked really good against Washington, but Helen Keller could have looked good against them. You know, but you see the potential. And one thing you know about Kevin O'Connor, my guy can coach. You know, he's a really good quarterbacks coach on top of that. So let's just see what he does this year. If it doesn't work this year, and you'll know early if it's working or not. But if it doesn't work this year, then you move on and you go find yourself a quarterback. But it's too early right now.
Now, with that class, where do you think, with Drake May losing, we don't have a new data point, where do you think that class will rank all time among quarterback draft classes?
Well, you know, we broke this down the other day on my show, and I had myself, and I gotta tell you, man, I think the 2012 draft class is on the heels of, production-wise, they're better than the 82 draft class. But I do think that this 2024 class has potential to go down as one of the best. They do need for Penix or for McCarthy to kind of put their stake in the ground to join the fray. And will be the fifth quarterback in the school. But yeah, I mean, right now, I mean, listen, one took a team to the NFC Championship that hadn't done anything in 35 years, okay? The other one just took a great franchise, brought him back to relevance, took him to the Super Bowl. I know people say, we're going to do defense. No, he's the quarterback, so he's going to get the credit too, just like he's going to get the blame. He's getting piled on for the loss. So he can get some credit for getting them. Yeah, Bo Nix had the Broncos as the number one overall seed in the NFC. So you look at what they're doing, and you saw Caleb. Caleb wasn't the reason Chicago lost. I mean, Caleb was the reason Chicago was winning in the playoffs. So those four have done their part. They look all the bit of where they were drafted and what they were doing for their franchises. But you need those other two guys to step up too.
That is a faster. I'm in the camp where I believe the class of 2024 will be, not right now, but will be the greatest quarterback draft class of all time.
And we got to get some Super Bowls though.
We do have to get some Super Bowls.
Have appearances because
who would have thought the 2018 class would have Sam Darnold as their first Super Bowl champion?
And here we go.
Next year we come.
Look at that 83 class. We talked about it. Everyone talks about Kelly, Marino, Bill O'Brien. I don't know Bill O'Brien. Ken O'Brien. So but you know, those guys in Elway. Elway didn't use his Super Bowls until the end of his career because of what? A running game with Terrell Davis and a defense in Denver. You know, but those other quarterbacks, Kellen, 4 losses in Buffalo, and Marino got bludgeoned by San Francisco when the Dolphins played them in Palo Alto. So they never won. O'Brien never even sniffed the Super Bowl.
Yeah. A question here to kind of wrap things up, and I think it's going to be a little bit of a longer question for us to go through. Do you think the Seahawks, and even to an extent the Patriots, kind of change the way that teams will go through roster building moving forward? We've talked about it, I think, a couple of times. Something I love focusing in on is the fact that the Seahawks team, specifically the defense, has invested in position groups that have kind of been forgotten by the big money free agency signings. Your defensive tackles don't get all the love like the edge rushers. Your off-ball linebackers don't get all the love. Your safeties don't get as much love as your corners. Things of that sort. And that's the spine of the team for the Seattle Seahawks. And for the Patriots, they invested heavily in free agency this past year that immediately reinvigorated. The Commanders a year ago invested heavily in free agency immediately reinvigorated to right? Do you think we're going to start seeing that? Not saying the teams are going to focus less on the draft, but almost invest more in free agency and scout more in free agency to try and build that way to give an immediate spark?
I absolutely do. And I think the reason for that is because there's more talent in the league across the board. I mean, your backups, a lot of them should be starters. And if they get their opportunities, you see what they can do. And it also keeps your books down. You know, if you're in the free agent market and you go out and you get a guy that's been a backup for 2-3 years, I mean, Washington did do that with Frankie Louisville. Frankie Louisville, although he was a starter in Carolina, but before that, when he was with the Jets, things didn't work out. So he kind of had, not found his niche yet. And then with Carolina, you saw talent. He comes to Washington and becomes a main frontline player for their defense. I think that is the way the league's going to go. And the other thing that's going to happen too is, and we talked about this the other day, Sam Darnold winning the Super Bowl didn't do some of these young quarterbacks a favor with their money. Because I don't think Sam Darnold resets the market as far as the money side of things. But I think from the side of free agency, yes, teams are going to look at quarterbacks that have shown that they have potential. They just need to be in the right fit at the right time. So yeah, it's going to, it's a copycat league. And whatever works, other teams are going to do that blueprint. They're going to try to find themselves a young coach. They're going to try to find themselves a serviceable quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over, and they're going to build up their defenses.
I think we've also seen the impact of these two coaches. Vrabel doing this in year one with New England, McDonald doing it in year two. I think that's a big reason why we saw 10 coaches fired this offseason.
100%. I mean, you know what? Also, shout out the running backs. And I'm glad that Saquon, by the way, I'm glad that Saquon literally, fought for his money and got the opportunity with Philadelphia to win the Super Bowl last year out of those 2,000 miles. And I think it changed the perception because the league was trying to go away from running backs. They were devaluing them. And now what you saw with Kenneth Walker, it's starting to make teams realize, you know what, we need a running back. And they're going to start looking for him.
It's going to be fascinating to see how teams, again, take in that data point because Kenneth Walker accounted for 0.9% of the team's cap because he's still playing he's in his last year of his rookie contract. He was a second-year draft pick, which means he wasn't eligible for the fifth-year extension. His slot value much less than what it was if he was in the first round. So it'll be interesting to see if teams go, I wonder if we take the spring and pray approach where maybe we draft 3 running backs every draft or whatever it might be.
Rounders.
Take some late rounders, maybe take some flyers on some free agents and go that way. Or if teams go, all right, let's bolster our offensive line, then get a workhorse back here like Saquon. Because you see that worked for Philly, and it could be that Seattle had the success. Kenneth Walker, of course, great talent, but it also helps that he only accounted for 0.9% of the cap, so you could invest in Abe Lucas and Charles Cross and draft Gray Zabel and Jalen Sunbell. It's fascinating.
Watch what happens this year. Combines in 2 weeks from Blueball. Watch what happens when the running backs perform because there's a lot of really good running backs. And I mean, not just okay. I'm talking about guys that were their school's all-time leading rushers. Katron Allen at Penn State. And I know Penn State here, but I'm just giving you an example. He's a guy that people really might know about. He's the all-time leading rusher there. Nicholas Singleton, they were 1-1A. Nicholas Singleton is the all-time leading scorer at Penn State. What I'm saying is, those backs at Ohio State, they have the same thing. Those backs at all these schools, but if you give them an opportunity in the pros, you're going to get some production from him.
Jeremiah Love, he's regarded as one of the best.
He's different.
His backup at Notre Dame is also a star.
Absolutely.
I mean, he'll probably be a second or third rounder.
Jeremiah Love, to me, is top 6. He's a stud.
You don't think the Ashton Genty experience will turn any teams off of Jeremiah Love?
See, I said this last year. No offense to Ashton. He's a good back. But I never thought he was great. And when I saw him play my school again, I have to bring it up, in college football playoff, he shut him down. And that needed to show me the levels of who Boise was playing against. No offense to that program, but they didn't have a Big Ten schedule. When you produce in the SEC as a running back, you produce in the Big Ten as a running back, you're doing something. And there's a lot of action in the SEC and the Big Ten this year in this draft. Trust me, the third and fourth round, especially the fourth round, it's probably going to be at least, in my opinion, 8 running backs taken in the fourth round. Wow. Watch.
That's going to be a fun draft. That's going to be... And then there's another thing. There's so much talent at the running back position. Do teams want to
they're going to use the Kenneth Walker, just like you said. You're drafting and you hope you don't have to worry about paying him for several years.
It's always off-season for the nerd with positional value, everything like that. It's really fascinating. Only thing I care about is the Washington Commanders drafting Caleb Browns. Screw positional value. Go out and you get the best darn player of this year's draft.
It's almost leaning that way. It'll be interesting today when I leave here. I'm going up to Commanders Park for pressers today for new coaches. And I'm going to ask Monty Jones about that because you kind of need another quarterback on the field. Bobby should be there for a year at least. But you need somebody in the secondary to be your quarterback out there.
Bobby got to come back one more year, break the all-time tackles record. I think he's only a couple of tackles away. Just get him a couple of games, and he's good to go. Lake, appreciate it. Safe travels up I-95 to those press conferences. Get some good information from us.
Appreciate you.
Lake Lewis Jr., host of the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. You can listen to that every Tuesday, Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. right here on ESPN Richmond. Streaming as well on Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Keep it locked right here. We've got so much more coming up in hour number 2. Fitz the bill on this Tuesday.
Score big with the 106.1 ESPN app. Listen live anywhere. Crystal clear coverage, breaking news, and Richmond's rowdiest sports debates. Tap in and turn it up.
Hey, this is Randy with South Park Carpet and Flooring Outlet in Colonial Heights. With the new year, it's a great time to beautify your home with new floors so you can enjoy them all year long. Why shop South Park Carpet and Flooring? We always have great prices, huge inventory, quick installation, and in-house finance. No matter if it's 1 room or 20 rooms, we take the stress out of your next flooring project. South Park Carpet and Flooring, 1217 Boulevard, between the post office and the police station. Or check us out online at southparkcarpet.com.
Time is valuable. That's why Lowe's Blueprint Takeoffs turn blueprints into quotes faster. Bring us your plans, and we'll generate itemized material lists to make quoting easier, so you can get back to building. Plus, at the Lowe's Pro Desk, you get access to thousands of building materials not sold in store. And when your order's ready, we'll deliver everything to the job site. Improvement is easy at Lowe's.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
At ACAC Fitness and Wellness Centers, we believe fitness is more than a workout. It's about caring for your whole self. From warm water pools and saunas to mind body classes, recovery spaces, and on-site childcare. Everything we offer is designed to help you feel your best. Every new member starts with 2 complimentary sessions with a certified personal trainer so you can begin with confidence. Take the next step toward better health. Enjoy the community that's here for you. Visit ACAC.com to learn more.
Your home for Richmond Spiders athletics all year round. W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV HD2 Richmond. We are 106.1 ESPN.
The second hour of Fitz the Bill is brought to you by Birdie Golf. Tired of paying premium prices for
listening to the second hour of Fitz the Bill on 106.1 ESPN. The second hour of Fitz the Bill is brought to you by Birdie Golf. Tired of paying premium prices for big-name golf balls that overpromise and underdeliver? Step up your game with Birdie Golf. Learn more about a local company at birdiegolf.com. Change out the I's for ones and you're there. That's B1RD1E golf.com. Birdie Golf. Welcome in, hour number 2 of Fitz the Bill on a Tuesday morning. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, Alan alongside, as we are streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you want to watch the show, just type in ESPN Richmond. We'll pop right on up. You can watch the stream live, and you can like, comment, and subscribe to be part of it. And of course, you can be part of it by calling in to the Radke Insurance phone line, 804-327-0888. And that's how we're going to start off hour number 2, as Bruce is out there on line 1. Good morning, Bruce. How are we doing on this Tuesday?
Good morning, Fitz. Good morning, Alan. Fitz, we have got to wean Allen into NBA. But I'm going to tell y'all right now, Alan, the NBA is bringing it. They are bringing it. And so, Isaiah Stewart, you don't mess with no Detroit teammates of his. So, yeah, I can be on the bench. But if Miles Bridges try to throw some cheap, I'm coming off this bench. And I don't know if we know on February the 11th or February the 10th what that meant last night. When Detroit Pistons in June are holding the chip, people need to revert back to the February 9th game. Let me be clear what I just said. When the Detroit Pistons are holding the chip in June, revert back to the February 9th Charlotte Hornets game. Because Cam Cunningham is special, but what Isaiah Stewart did last night may change the tenor in the locker room.
It could also do the opposite if they end up without Durant for a couple of games and they're without Isaiah Stewart for a couple of games. Look, I get what you're saying there, but that was a tough look. I think Isaiah Stewart may miss a week of basketball because of that. You can't come off the bench and fight a guy.
Hey, Fitz, I'm in my car shaking my head. I'm getting ready to walk in the office. I'm in my car shaking my head. Nope. Hey, let me tell you, man, this is NBA culture. And when this went down, I was watching the association last night. And I heard what Shump said, and I agree with Shump, that this changes a locker room. Your guys know you're going to get suspended, you're going to miss some coins, and you do this, oh yeah, they coming out like riders going forward.
I will be fascinated to see Detroit already the best team in the Eastern Conference, record-wise. This could galvanize them, but now they've got to figure out how to weather the storm without Isaiah Stewart and without Jalen Durant for the next week.
They'll figure it out. But I would love for Alan to chime on that, because I want to hear what Alan thinks. And you don't want to hear what I got to say,
because Isaiah Stewart is a nut job, man. He don't need a reason to fight. This ain't rallying the troops. This dude probably fights in his sleep. They can't expect him to run off the court for anything. This is the guy that tried to fight LeBron and Steph Curry, the two most passing guys in the league. Stu has beef with everybody. He wakes up angry. What did Cat Williams say? He's game banging on bacon. That's That's who he is, man. So they're not rallying behind him because of this. This isn't changing anything for the Pistons. He's just a goofball with anger issues, man. And honestly, if I was the league, get ready to run G League or go test out this new thing that they got in the NCAA with eligibility. Because he ain't coming back, man.
Nah, he's going to get suspended for like a
You can't run off the bench like that. Like, literally, that is the fine line right there. You went from simple assault to a felony right there. Yeah, they gotta come down hard on this dude, man. Again, they let him skate trying to fight LeBron. They let him skate trying to fight Steph. You can't run off the bench, man. You just can't. The rules are the rules. It's that simple.
Hey, Alan, I'm going to tell you, man, I'm going to see what Secaucus does. I am. Because
I'm watching too.
Yeah, I'm going to see what Secaucus does, guys. I'm going to tell you. I think there's going to be a look at what Miles Bridges did because everything is sort of, I won't say calmed down, but they had sort of separated the two big men. And then Bridges comes around while Durant is sort of being led to his bench and throws those punches at him.
I think Bridges is going to get the brunt of it, and so will Isaiah Stewart. I think both of them are going to be in for long multi-game suspensions because both also have not the best history with the league. For Isaiah Stewart, it's more so on-court incidents. For Miles Bridges, it's off-the-court incidences.
Yep.
But Isaiah Stewart, he's already got a long list of suspensions. This will be his fifth one since November of 2021.
Interesting.
He's a habitual line stepper. That's what he is.
Okay. So let me just say this, guys. Watching that game, watching the association, I had no idea Arizona was playing at Rock Chalk last night. But I happened, my son told me, Arizona's playing Kansas tonight. Man, it's hard, in my opinion, I love listening to you guys, but when the Friday game between UConn and Connecticut was unbelievable. The game last night was unbelievable. I mean, and I know we are not even talking about BYU and their talent, but some of these NCAA hoop games have been just impressive at best. That UConn St. John's game Friday night, guys. I don't know if y'all saw that game Friday night because I know VCU was on. But, man, that was a game.
It was a sensation.
See, St. John's is balling out. St. John's 87-82 win last night as well over Xavier. I mean, St. John's is a team not to be messed with moving forward. And Bruce, I don't know if you caught the Louisville game against NC State. Louisville put up 118 points last night against NC State. Crazy. And Louisville's another fun team. But yeah, I mean, NCAA hoops is starting to heat up. Look, we returned the calendar. We've closed the book on the NFL season for the most part. We return our attention to the NBA, to the NCAA, and we get you set for March Madness. But yeah, last night's Arizona-Kansas game. Craig, the fact Kansas was able to win 82-78 against Arizona without Darren Peterson. Jayhawks, man. They've had themselves an interesting season, but I think they're peaking at the right time. That's the word we're going to be hearing a lot from here on out. Peaking at the right time, I think that is the case. But Bruce, appreciate you calling in. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll keep you updated on what Isaiah Stewart happens with him.
Thanks, guys.
There goes Bruce. But yeah, that Kansas game last night, 82-78. Kansas gets the win. They upset Arizona. It's Arizona's first loss of the season. And oh, by the way, Kansas did that without the potential number one overall pick in the upcoming NBA draft, Darren Peterson. He missed the game with a sickness. A fantastic night of hoops. I mean, some ranked matchups. St. John's, it took overtime for them to beat Xavier 87-82. And then Louisville just completely dismantled NC State. 118-77 was never in question. Just a dominant performance by the Cardinals in that one as well. All right, let's keep it out on the phone lines. The Radkey Insurance phone line. Reggie on line 2. Good morning, Reggie. How you doing? Long time no talk.
Those pictures not having from the Super Bowl.
Those were awesome, man. Those were fantastic.
Yeah, this is Pat's 26th Super Bowl he's covered. He's report from the Buffalo Bills, and I was really excited about the three officials that from HBCU, the head referee went to Howard, and one went to Savannah State, and the other one, I think, went to Grambling. So the three main officials in the Super Bowl, HBCU, stood up. But I have to say one thing, Fitz. How does it feel to be the champ is here? The champ is here. How does it feel, man? How does it feel the champ is here? Come on, Tom.
Man, feels pretty good.
Right, yesterday.
It feels pretty good. It felt good because it was so easy, man. Like that Super Bowl, I was at ease. It was a great time. I was able to enjoy a couple of adult beverages, enjoy my wings. Typically, I'm not much of an eater on Super Bowl Sunday if my team's playing in it because I'm so nervous. But after that first drive, I was able to settle in and enjoy some good wings, some good buffalo chicken dip, and some couple of adult beverages as well. It feels good being the champ.
Well, you say the first year that Big Al was on the air, his Thursday and Gold won the Super Bowl. So the tradition goes on. So 20 more years, maybe see how it can repeat, and then have a multitude of victories. But I'm so happy that Bruce didn't say anything about the Wizards in that 35th or that 35-year rebuilding plan. I mean, to show you the just sadness of this organization, you bring two people in that's not even playing this year. One from Atlanta and one from Dallas. I mean, I don't hear nothing about the Wizards and doing a great job, especially when they can't. It's just a salary dump. You want to dump a salary, call the Wizards. I mean, it's just embarrassing, this franchise. It's just embarrassing.
I was shocked, Reggie, we didn't hear from you the day of the trade, but I guess you had to take some time to figure it out. Yeah, look, I thought for sure we'd get a call from you. We'd hear you say we're in year 20 of our 15-year rebuild or whatever it is.
No, year 35.
Year 35 or 30-year rebuild. It's still going on. Yeah, I mean, Al and I were talking about it, man. What an interesting decision. I'll leave it at that. Interesting indeed. But I appreciate you calling in. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll talk again soon.
Yes, sir. Take care.
There goes Reggie. Always love hearing from Reggie. But yeah, the first person I thought of when that trade happened on was Reggie. I was like, man, he is going to be mad about this one.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those things where it just seems like the basketball version of Albert Hainsworth, man. We got a name, and we all recognize the name. The fan base will get excited, but is it really going to be productive? I don't know.
I got an Albert Hainsworth jersey hanging up at home.
He's good. Tennessee.
Tennessee, he's not good. He got paid and he stopped caring.
Yeah.
Good for him. Long list of random NFL jerseys I want. Albert Hainsworth I've got. Sean Alexander, the Washington Commanders I got. I have a Patrick Kearney, Seattle Seahawks jersey. Marshawn Lynch, of course. Earl Thomas. We got a long list of jerseys. I love jerseys.
I mean, you got to be really good for me to get a jersey.
That's why I got a Mickey Memorial jersey.
I don't have a Jerry Rice jersey.
I don't go out and buy a lot of That's why I got Mickey Memorial and Bobby Wagner. I got to get an all-time goal for the season.
Nothing wrong with that. I might get an Isaiah Stewart jersey, though.
Oh, man. You make me so good at fight. This is his list of suspensions, going back to what Bruce was saying. And one, you come off the bench, I think that automatically will give him a 2-game suspension. But going back to November 2021, he's been suspended 2 games. Then in February 2024, a 3-game suspension. January of last season, a 1-game suspension. March of last season, a 2-game suspension. And now we're waiting to see what he's going to get for this one. But I mean, based off of what he has done, I think this is going to be a 3+ game suspension. He's going to miss some good time. Maybe even longer.
Adam Silver needs to grow a spine, man.
Adam Silver, we talk a lot about how MLB's commissioner, Rob Manfred, is the worst among all major sports because he called, the World Series trophy a chunk of metal, everything like that. I think in the past 24 months, there is a real conversation to be had that Adam Silver is the worst commissioner in all of American sports because he's called his league a highlight league. He's talked about changing quarter length. He's talked about changing the rules to align more with FIBA. There's a lot of conversations. The focus for Adam Silver, he's made everyone more rich because he's focusing on the international game and the game is growing internationally. But it feels like it's at the expense of the American game. And the
on-court product has taken a hit, and a lot of the extracurricular stuff is continuing on. You know David Stern would have Miles Bridges and Isaiah Stewart in the offices in Secaucus, New Jersey.
Isaiah Stewart would be begging to stay in the league.
But Adam Silver probably would just give him a 3-game suspension and say, don't let that happen again, young man.
Yeah, Bridges is on the court, so to me it's more like clear and cut what we're going to do with him. But like the idea of players running off the bench, and I keep going back to that because it was such a big deal when it happened during Malice in the Palace and everything.
It was also, I mean, coming from my perspective as a guy who went to Charlotte Hornets games for multiple years, I kind of got a little Charlotte Hornet fan in me a bit. But Isaiah Stewart also came off the bench and attacked Miles Bridges, and Miles Bridges was not going after Isaiah Stewart. It was almost a cheap shot from Isaiah Stewart. Yeah, like that also plays a part. Bridges was focused on, I don't even know who he was trying to fight, but he was focused on someone on the court. Isaiah Stewart runs over to him and starts swinging without Bridges recognizing that he was coming up on him. That's a cheap shot, and that's kind of a... There's some words I can't say on radio about the type of move, and Isaiah Stewart kind of has that long list of stuff. Like, his longest suspension was a 3-game suspension because he punched the Suns center near the loading dock where he was arrested, cited, and released. He just punched a player at the loading dock before the game. I'm telling you, like, he's crazy, man. I mean, it's all right.
Hey, we got a text real quick. We should address this. Oh, I bought my baby a Chase Young jersey. That didn't last.
Yeah, text in your worst jersey purchase.
Come on, man.
What's your worst jersey purchase?
My worst jersey purchase?
You said you only go after
for me, I got the Joe Rex jersey, but my worst jersey purchase was me getting my son a Ronald Acuna jersey, and then Ronald Acuna didn't play anymore after that. That was game 1 of 2024. But it was a big deal. Like, I took him to his first Braves game. We were down in Atlanta. Strider was pitching and everything. And like, Strider got hurt, and not too long after that, Acuna got hurt, and it was like, dude, maybe I'm the jinx.
Yeah, that stinks.
It's me. I'm the problem.
Chase Young's a bad jersey purchase. I think mine's Albert Hainsworth.
If you bought a Chase Young jersey, you don't love the person you bought it for.
Yeah, that's true. I also got a Ryan Kerrigan jersey.
What are you doing?
Growing up, I went to a lot of Commanders Redskins games, so I would get, and that was back in the day when I was a youth size. Yeah, and I don't know if you've ever looked at prices, the difference between an adult jersey and a youth jersey. Youth jerseys are much cheaper.
There's nothing wrong with the Kerrigan jersey. It's just that you have a Kerrigan jersey.
I have an odd amount of Washington Commanders jerseys. Redskins jerseys.
I think you've been lying to us.
I am not.
I think you just claim the Seattle Seahawks because they're winning. I think you're really the Commanders.
Okay.
Put you in trouble.
I'll show you my entire.
Oh wait, the text to follow that. I bought a Burrow jersey.
All right. Well, now I'm confused about their fingerprints.
No. Definitely make up for it.
He's also coming from the guy who says you can change fandoms whenever you want.
You should be allowed to.
And I think if you bought yourself a Chase Young jersey or bought your baby a Chase Young jersey, you should be allowed to switch to it.
If I can switch collegiate teams 6-7 times, I should be able to at least switch my fandom at least twice.
Sure. All right, texting your worst jersey purchase is on the Ladkey Insurance phone line, 804-327-088. We want to hear the worst jersey that you have purchased. Mine is Albert Hainsworth. It's up there. Ronald Acuna Jr. right before he just gets hit with his string of injuries. That's tough too. Chase Young, though. Chase Young is at the top of the list right now. All right, let's get a quick break in here. We'll step aside, be back with more. I do want to talk a bit about the Seahawks and Patriots and how their futures may unfold over the next 5 or so years. That's coming up next on Fitz the Bill.
February is famous for presidents' birthdays. Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, and believe it or not, mine too. This is Rob Nicholson, president of East Coast Appliance, and we're having a huge President's Day sale to celebrate. Save up to 50% off Virginia's largest in-stock inventory of new appliances, or save even more with up to 75% off our huge scratch and dent inventory. All with same-day, next-day delivery and installation available. It's the President's Day sale at East Coast Appliance. Hey, send me a birthday card.
Hey man, you still need help fixing your old refrigerator?
No, I'm all set. I already got a new one.
Really? How'd you get it so fast?
I got a guy. They delivered and it's
installed it the next day. Plus, I got the best price in town. Still putting off replacing your old appliances? I'm Rob Nicholson, your appliance guy. And at East Coast Appliance, we have the largest in-stock appliance inventory in Virginia, plus a huge selection of new scratch and dent appliances at discounted prices. Visit East Coast Appliance today and get the best price, or it's free. I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter. Start your search for strong candidates. Right fit awaits. Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed. Plus, free premium delivery with any bed and base. Ends Monday. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Coming up on the next edition of the Sports Huddle, Bob will be live at the Robins Center where we will speak with the voice of George Mason. We'll also get you set for UVA Florida State and the start of spring training 4 until 6, 106.1 ESPN.
Stuck off the field? 106.1 ESPN's got your back. Stream every debate, score, and highlight on the 106.1 ESPN app. Download today and stay in the game.
Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill here on this Tuesday, February 10th morning. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick. Allen alongside. Get your text in. I want to know. They said Chase Young is the #1 worst jersey. That kind of feels like it's opposite. I shouldn't say.
There's got to be some worse purchases. They just don't want to admit it.
Look, this is a safe space for you. You can admit it. The worse, the better. It's actually a great investment. But I love going to games, going to football games, and you see all the jerseys people are wearing, and you're like, wow, I forgot about that, Brad.
Yeah, I often, actually I have openly questioned NFL fans sometimes. Like the most random jerseys popping up at the most random games. I think I went to was it Panthers, Rams? Maybe it was the Panthers, Dolphins when I was at. There was like a Packer fan there, there's a Lion fan there, there's like always a random Eagle fan somewhere. I know every time I would go to a community game, no matter who they were playing, I would find a Cowboy jersey in there. I'm just like, I don't understand. And my friend told me that sometimes people just want to wear their jerseys because they like sports. Yeah, and I think he was like poking fun at me.
When I went to the Commander Seahawks game earlier this year, the person sitting in front of me had a Saquon Barkley jersey, and I was like, not the place for this. And it turns out they were just massive Eagles fans and they want to everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I guess it makes sense too. Like, I don't get it.
I truly don't get it. But I want to hear yours on the Radkey Insurance phone line, 804-327-0888. And a lot of the conversation over the last day or so has been centered around how the Seahawks and Patriots, how likely each are to return back to the spot. And Alan, I really think the Seahawks are poised to make it back to this spot in a lot better of a way than the Patriots are. And it's funny because the Seahawks are being
highly disrespected. Have you looked at the futures odds for next season already?
I thought they were favored.
They are the second favorites to win the Super Bowl.
How is that disrespectful?
And they're the second favorites to win their own division.
I don't think that's disrespectful. The division is going to be competitive. I mean, if the Niners stay healthy,
won the Super Bowl, and the Rams are favored over you to win the Super Bowl division.
to do is repeat.
100%. But we're saying already when the lines are just created, before there's any real movement, before there's any real money being thrown on it, that the Seahawks have worse odds than the Rams, the team they beat 2 out of 3 times this season.
I think from a sportsbook perspective, it would make sense to put the Rams or somebody. The probability of the Rams and Niners finishing better than Seattle next season is probably higher than Seattle repeating anything that they did this year. Just off the attrition that happens at the NFL level, guys get hurt, guys take subs back, sometimes key free agents leave.
We know the San Francisco 49ers aren't getting back. They practice next to that substation.
You're gonna move, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, wait a minute. Niners got to worry about players getting shot. They had another shot. That substation is the least of our worry.
Yeah, look, Keon White got shot in the ankle, man. Ricky Pearsall got shot in the chest last year.
Like, what is that?
Good luck, guys. Just don't play in San Francisco. This is really ruining all their free agent chances. If you come to San Francisco, you will be poisoned by EMF radio waves or whatever it is from this electrical substation.
It does not make you bulletproof.
And they thought it did, you know. They've been reading too many comics.
Not everyone can repeat my Chiefs prove that. I know who that is.
Look, and I'm not saying the Seahawks are going to repeat. I'm just saying from a pure odds-making perspective, it's wild to me that the Rams, and I wouldn't feel this way if there's any other team. They're Sacramento. 5.
Oh, come on, Jack.
Very close.
Come on,
look,
Jack.
any perceived slight I will take at this point. I'm upset that the Seahawks aren't getting enough love for having one of the most dominant defenses we've ever seen. I'm a little upset at that. But I do want to take a moment to say the Seahawks are in a pretty darn good spot moving forward. The one huge caveat is that they'll likely have new ownership next year, but I don't think that's necessarily going to inhibit them because look at the Broncos. The Broncos recently sold, and they made it to the AFC Championship a year ago. The NFL, look at the Commanders. They sold, and in a year they were in the NFC Championship. The NFL is very particular about who they bring in as a new owner, and at the price point, you're not just going to get any willy-nilly owner in. You're likely going to get a tech mogul who hails from Seattle who has some sort of fandom to this team. That's the only way you're going to pony up $11 billion. So the biggest caveat, to me, not that big of a caveat. And then you look at the roster for next year, the Seahawks key contributors not under contract next year. It's Kenneth Walker, Boy Mafe, Kobe Bryant, Rashid Shaheed, and Tariq Woolen.
Let him go.
Tariq Woolen, he can go. Yeah. Tariq Woolen, he's a head case. He'll find success in Dallas. He might find success in Washington, who desperately needs that defensive back. Dude is a nutcase. Good player when he wants to be a player, but he can go. I think you've got to resign Rashid Shaheed.
You stop doing that.
Every time. That is the best clip of all time. There's no question. Al Michaels saying Rashid Shaheed on a punt return was one of the all-time greatest football players.
This is the best call all year.
And honestly, I don't think that's a hot take. But you got to re-sign him. You gave up some future draft capital to go up there and get him in the trade deadline this year. I think you re-sign Kobe Bryant. You could probably let Boy Mafe walk. And Kenneth Walker, I don't think is going to break the bank to bring him back. Spotrack's projection currently has him signing a 4-year, $33.5 million contract, which is just about $8.4 million per year, which would make him roughly the 12th highest paid running back in the league. I think you could pony up a little bit more for him, maybe give him $11 million a year, make him around the 8th, 9th highest paid running back in the league, and he would take that deal. Now, of course, you've got to work through all of the guarantees, the signing bonuses, all of that fun stuff. But I think of the guys, of the key contributors not under contract next season, you should have a pretty easy time re-signing the guys you want, in Kenneth Walker, and Kobe Bryant, and Rashid Shaheed. Because, by the way, Alan, the Seahawks have the 5th most cap space this offseason.
Yes,
$75 million.
That's a lot to work with.
And they've got a lot of contracts that they can move off of this season to create more space. Like Uchenna Nwosu, I know he just had the pick 6 in the Super Bowl, so this might be sacrilegious to say, but if you move off of his contract this offseason, you free up like $12 million in cap space. So there might be some cap casualties this offseason that opens it up. Now, of course, you've got to have the forward thinking where there's a JSN extension coming, there's a Devin Witherspoon extension coming, there's likely a Sam Darnold extension coming this offseason. And so you do have to think ahead in terms of that. But you've locked Charles Cross up to an extension last offseason. You locked Abe Lucas up to an extension last offseason. You're pretty well set where the cornerstones of your franchise are under contract for the next 3 to 5 years. And so for the Seahawks, this isn't a team that is likely going to get pillaged with free agency. They've got to find a new offensive coordinator and try to do that. But outside of that, they'll return most of this Super Bowl winning team, which is a huge plus for them. If you're asking me right now who is more likely to make it back to the Super Bowl next year, the Seahawks or the Patriots, I am without a shred of doubt going to Seattle Seahawks, and I'll even take it a step further, and I'll say the New England Patriots are more likely to not make it back to the playoffs than they are to make it back to the Super Bowl. If I'm looking for markets right now, New England not to make the Super Bowl, New England not to make the playoffs next year is a good bet.
What was your number again for Walker?
For Walker, I'd like him 4-year, $12 million a year. I don't think that's crazy.
Yeah,
$48 million.
So, I was just looking, just out of curiosity, because I figured the franchise tag is crazy.
Yeah, probably 20.
Because 14 and a half, which would put him above Jonathan Taylor, which would obviously be a kind of a sin. But Alvin Kamara is getting 12.2. Josh Jacobs is getting 12. I think he would have an argument to be above them based off his performance in the Super Bowl.
I think you could even front load the contract because you do have the extensions coming down the road with JSN and Witherspoon, where you could sign a deal to Kenneth Walker 4 years, you front load it heavily, where he might be getting paid $15 million this year or next, and then whatever that remaining balance is spread up over the next 2 years. I see the Seahawks front loading a contract there to try and get a lot of the money in as soon as they can because they have all of this cap space that won't be there when the JSN's extension eligible this offseason. Devin Witherspoon's extension eligible this offseason because they played there 3 years. So those are guys that you're going to have to keep in mind that they are going to be hitting your books in 2028. So you got to keep that in mind, which I know they do.
JSN, I would for receivers, I would play it like quarterback, man. You probably get them figured out sooner rather than later.
Look at the Cowboys. I mean, you even see it where the cap is increasing each and every year. We've hardly talked about it on the show, but the cap is taking such a huge jump up where a lot of players now are gearing their contract. We're not explicitly being stated.
He said, look at the Cowboys. I had to chuckle. Sorry. But I had to chuckle because I'm like, that's what makes me afraid. The same thing with like CD. Like, you wait around for Dallas, they franchise tag everybody. They franchise tag Pickens, so that's going to raise his value. You don't know what you're going to end up paying if you wait around for them.
And the salary cap's always increasing.
Yeah.
So if you wait, you're going to have to be on the hook for more because the salary cap increase, and a player's going to want to demand 30% of the salary cap. Now, that's not explicitly written in the deal, but they're doing that math. The agents are doing that math. So it completely throws everything off. The earlier you sign a player, the better you off in the long run. And because you've signed them to those deals, you can rework deals. Just look at the New Orleans Saints. Every single year they're reworking deals, adding stuff into void years, converting things to signing bonuses, and they're able to sign random players like Chase Young somehow. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. But I think the Seahawks are poised. Like I said yesterday, I'm not using the D word. I'm not using the D word. I'm not saying dynasty when it comes to Seattle Seahawks. Dynasties are dang hard to do. But this is a team that's poised to have tremendous success over the next 3 to 5 years. I fully, wholeheartedly believe that, and that's not coming from the Seahawks fan in me.
That's coming from the unbiased NFL appreciator. You look at this roster, you look at the cap space, you look at the coach they have, they're poised for long-term success for a franchise that has the most postseason wins over the last 25 years. All right, let's go out to the phone lines. We've got Dolphin Dave on line one. Good morning, Dolphin Dave. How are we doing on this Tuesday?
Well, you know what? I can't agree with you more about the Seahawks, and no, I'm not getting out of the Seahawks bandwagon. But
we got space for you, Dolphin Dave. We've got space.
I appreciate it, but after, rooting for the Dolphins for 50 years, it looked pretty bad. Listen, I totally agree with you. One of the things that struck me, and you're going to think I'm a little bit crazy, I thought Kenneth Walker ran an awful lot like Saquon Barkley, and basically all good running backs do that. If you get first, through the first line of defense, then you're going to get yourself some serious yards, and you're going to be hard to bring down. And the second thing that everybody knew about Saquon, that if you saw his workout ethic and how hard he works to be able to get in shape, to stay in shape, and not get hurt to play football. And when Kenneth Walker was interviewing at one of the podiums, one of the four people that were just actually, that sit there, and he was there, and he had a T-shirt on. Man, that man's cut. All right, you could just look at the shape of his body, and again, it reminded me of Saquon Barkley. I think that the concept of that if you're going to be great at what you do, especially in football, you follow the great football players who do what they do. And I got a funny feeling that you're right. And I think a big part of that is that they need to keep Kenneth Walker. I don't think they're going to have to overpay for Sam Darnold. I think they're going to give him a really nice contract. And I think they have enough salary space. Remember, this is the way the hated, and I'm talking about hated Patriots did. They redid their contracts and worked their contracts. And you know what? They never had a bad offensive line. And that is the key to winning football games and winning a Super Bowl.
Exactly. You win in the trenches. You want a solid defensive line, and you want an offensive line that you can build around. That's the key to so much success in the NFL. And yeah, I'm right there with you with Sam Darnold. I think he likely signs a contract this offseason. He's making a contract extension, I should say, that essentially rips up the final 2 years of his contract that he currently has and puts something new in place. I'm eyeing something around $50 million a year. Sam Darnold currently making $33 million. But I don't think that Sam's going to try and go out and break the bank and beat Dak Prescott, who's making $60 million a year. I think if you give him an offer at around $50 million a year, that'll check him in as around the 11th, 12th highest paid quarterback. I think that is a favorable contract for him and the team, and Seattle will be able to have a lot of success around him. And on your Kenneth Walker point, dude's 5'9", 211. At least that's what's reported. He looks every ounce of that 211. He is a bowling ball back there who can hit 22 miles an hour. He is a darn good running back, and a lot of his success comes because of the offensive line being so good in front of him. Dolphin Dave, I appreciate you calling in. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.
Thank you.
Look, the offer stands. If you want to come over to the Seahawks bandwagon, we have so much. All right, 49ers.
No, we really need to go ahead and just say it. Nobody respects Seattle. That's why you're right.
No, you're right.
Well, they just won a Super Bowl, and we're already talking about
it's 2020. So it's disrespectful. It is disrespectful. We just witnessed one of, if not the most and I get it, the final score doesn't look like it, but we just witnessed one of the most dominant defensive performances in the new millennium. And no one's talking about it. This team, according to DVOA, which is one of the best stats out there telling you how good a team is, because it accounts for garbage time. It accounts for situation. It accounts for how good the opponent is. It accounts for everything. This was the third best Super Bowl champion of all time, behind only the Redskins of 91 and the Bears of 85.
Yeah, exactly, because that's how you guys played, like an old school team.
And no one wants to talk about how fun that was.
Yeah, we don't want to see that in 2026.
I don't know. Everyone wants to talk about that.
Show your game in the projector.
Can't wait till we're back to back. That's going to feel so good. That's going to be.
I can't wait by week 6. You're like, what happened? Everybody's hurt.
Oh, no. All right, let's get a quick break in. Let's step aside. Be back with more Fitz to Go on this Tuesday morning, February 10th. is this Saturday, February 14th, and you need to get flowers. Grove Flower Market is the place for all your Valentine's Day needs. From stunning rose bouquets to elegant handmade arrangements by Richmond's premier local florist. We have every option to suit your budget, with mixed bouquets starting at $14.95 at each of our locations. We understand the importance of every detail, and that's why Grove offers hand delivery to surprise your special someone at home or work. Imagine the joy on their face when a professionally crafted arrangement arrives straight from the heart. Stop by one of Grove's convenient locations, Farm Road near Patterson in the West End, or our flagship headquarters at Arthur Ashe Boulevard near Broad Street. There's no time to wait. Call and place your order today at 804-353-9600. That's 804-353-9600, or go to GroveFlowers.com to order online. RVA Specialty Twist Pizza available only in West Cary Sports Bar, featuring tikka masala, butter chicken, or Mexican fajita pizzas. West Cary Sports Bar, online at westcarysportsbar.com.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, visit fvgradio.com. If you want 100% complimentary stay at a luxury resort in Cancun, airfare not included, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise. Website for complete details. We're giving away 5 days and 4 nights to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. You know it? Call now, 800-417-6411. 800-417-6411. You're also eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $498. And don't worry about anything limiting your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and you get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $498. What are you waiting for? Call 800-417-6411 and give us your answer. Proceeding is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by this program or its affiliates.
WorkZone is the one-stop shop for the hard-working man and woman. When it comes to the gear selection, WorkZone has it. Over 15 brands of boots in all toe types. Even boots for ladies. WorkZone has jackets in stock for all seasons, from cold weather to lightweight. See why WorkZone will be your first and only stop for the best brands and comfort in workwear. And a gift card from WorkZone is always the perfect gift. Visit WorkZone on Temple Avenue, next to the Ford dealership, WorkZoneVA.com, and check them out on Instagram and Facebook.
This is advertising material. Injured in an Uber or Lyft? Here's the problem. Was it the driver's fault? You got the car? The app company? Good luck figuring that out when you're trying to heal. Alexander Schnarr Trial Attorneys, they've got a guy for rideshare accidents. Here's the best part. They don't get paid unless you do. You heal. They fight. One call, 877-222-6666. Or visit alexwins.law. Alexander Schnarr Trial Attorneys. Because rideshare accidents need an experienced team.
This is advertising material. Past results do not guarantee future outcomes. Every case is different. Philip George's licensed attorney in Virginia is responsible for legal work. Office located in Norfolk.
Game on, Richmond. Crank up 106.1 ESPN for live play-by-play. Blistering hot takes and non-stop action. Your ticket to the hype. Stay dialed in.
Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill. On this Tuesday morning, I'm Jack Fitzpatrick. Alan alongside as we get you set for what's to come the rest of the day. Before we do any of that, it is time for America's favorite segment, a little news or snooze.
News or snooze.
All right, Alan, I'm going to throw these three to you. You're going to tell me if they're newsworthy or snoozeworthy.
This is going to be great.
It's a little switch up. We're doing news or snooze in hour number 2 because Lake Lewis Jr. was in hour number 1. So we're moving some things around. In kind of going along with that, moving things around, we're going to have me read the headlines and you tell me if they're newsworthy or snoozeworthy. You ready for this? I'm ready. Number 1, 4 players tossed after brawl in Pistons Hornets. Newsworthy, yeah, it is. You know why? Because Isaiah Stewart's a menace. He's a menace. We finally got a little bit of energy, a little bit of fight in the league. I was joking with somebody the other day. I was like, the Super Bowl's over. The NBA doesn't have to act like they like anybody anymore. So, yeah, take it by the horns. This is the time to get your momentum going. Also, a break is coming up soon. And don't assume because you're number 1 that
that can't be taken from you because it's going to get competitive at the top. Remember, the Pistons didn't make any changes, and the Cavs picked up Harden. And Tatum's going to the G League, so who knows what his trajectory is to come back. So yeah, I think this is a good tone setter, just a little overreaction.
Bruce brought it up in hour one, or at the start of hour two, and he said this could galvanize the Pistons locker room, could kind of have them come together and play a little bit better. I'm not fully on that train. I don't think a fight against the Charlotte Hornets on February 9th will do enough for the locker room to bring them together. I think this is already a really close locker room. You could hear it from J.D. Bickerstaff's post-game comments. But the Pistons do need anything they got going because the Knicks are right behind them. The Celtics, you mentioned it, Tatum is working out now, kind of going back to the G League, essentially like on assignment like they do in MLB. They're right there. The Cavs made some moves. I think the Cavs learned from their mistakes a year ago where the Cavs played extraordinarily well in the regular season but then faltered in the playoffs. I think they're content with being the 4, maybe a 3 seed and just kind of hovering around right there in the middle of the pack in the Eastern Conference and being poised for a playoff run because they now know that's what's important, not winning a regular season. You want to win the playoffs. Raptors and Sixers and but then you got the Hornets who I know are 4 games under 500. I get it. They're what? They're 5.5 games out of the 6th spot to avoid the play-in. But they are the hottest team in the NBA under head coach Charles Lee. Maybe it just took some time to kind of figure out what he wanted from him. They are a team with pure scorers, with electric players, and that's a team to kind of monitor as well. Pistons got a lot of work to do moving forward.
Yeah, it's no guarantee. And again, it's a team that, they had a heartbreaking loss last year in their series, so I'm pretty sure they haven't forgotten about that.
All right, next one. Nothing left to prove. Resilient Sam Darnold makes ultimate statement. I thought for sure you would have said that was
it's not snooze-worthy because I truly believe Sam Darnold winning the Super Bowl will change the trajectory of how quarterbacks get paid going forward. I think there's an out now for ownership and for teams. Like they've been looking for a way to kind of rein in and stop the bleeding because everybody's getting paid because this guy's got paid because this guy's got paid, et cetera, et cetera. If he sets a new benchmark and that new benchmark is set because he won a Super Bowl, then guys like Trevor Lawrence can't possibly get paid. But obviously Trevor Lawrence and those guys have already gotten paid, but for the Drake May era of quarterback, and we talked about that, the Drake May, the Caleb Williams, the Jaden Daniels, if you haven't won, if you haven't had that postseason success, and the new benchmark is a guy who, it took a while, but he's got a Super Bowl, and that's why he got paid so much, then what does that do for you?
Well, also all eyes are on Seattle right now because they're monitoring to see what he signs for. Because if he gets the Super Bowl and then he signs a deal that's $50 million a year, he's taking below market value, then all of a sudden that completely impacts the 2024 class and beyond.
I think the key for Sam Darnold, what to pay attention to, is the percentage of the guarantee in relation to his total contract. Because if his percentage is like 75-80% is guaranteed or something like that, then that'll probably play more into the favor of the Jadens and those guys that are coming up in this next cycle who are paid.
But if he gets $50 million and only 50% of it's guaranteed, then that's going to be bad.
Might have to fight him, guys.
All right, last one here real quick. Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, Mariners, Braves. Top 5 favorites to win World Series per FanDuel.
You said Dodgers and Mets. That's all I need to hear.
Braves too, man.
Yeah, you said Dodgers and Mets. You said the Dodgers and Mets first. That's all I needed to hear.
Dodgers, Yankees, and Mets.
Yeah, that's even worse. Yeah, this is the trifecta of teams I hate.
Mariners are 4 of them.
There we go. Gotta be honest. Atlanta Braves fans, let's be real here. We didn't do anything to really improve.
Nope, we just got healthy.
Yeah, that might be the only thing we need, but I'm not confident.
That's true. That is true.
We'll see how it plays out. I do fight back.
I'm not on the Braves bandwagon.
But I do fight back on this notion that we just handed to the Dodgers. The Dodgers had to work for that last year. Yeah. And there's going to be another Blue Jays or somebody else that's going to pop up.
And the Dodgers had some real issues last year. And they've had real issues the last couple of years.
The scary thing, though, is the Dodgers also were very banged up last year.
That's what I mean. Yeah. That's kind of what I mean. Like,
especially on the pitching side.
That happens. Maybe the Dodgers are.
You the anti-Shohei.
The Dodgers, though, are the...
Where is he? There's got to be somebody out here, man.
Maybe not. Probably not. So far, not. You can't have 2 generational players in one generation.
he beat Milwaukee by himself.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty good baseball, huh?
That's insane.
All right, let's get our last break and we'll step aside. Be back to wrap up this Tuesday edition of Fitz the Bill on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
106.1 ESPN on-air interviews presented by the Herman Allen Plumbing Heating and Cooling Hotline with Lennox products that make the air in your home absolutely perfect.
Catch up on the latest horse racing news with Off to the Races live broadcast 10 to 11 every Saturday morning on 106.1 ESPN. Presented by The Racing Biz.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-484-5131 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-484-5131. That's 800-484-5131. What do you have to lose? Call 800-484-5131. Again, 800-484-5131.
A duo that's perfect together. That's Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating and Cooling, and Lennox. Herman Allen is your local Lennox dealer, and they're committed to making your family's home comfort their top priority. With a wide assortment of Lennox products to offer, Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating and Cooling will ensure your home's air is perfect for your family. Call today at 804-746-5853 or visit online at HermanAllenPlumbing.com to learn more about how you can experience expert service and care.
Get the latest update on Henrico County sports tournaments, happenings, and future events on ESPN Richmond's newest segment, the Henrico Huddle. Join Henrico Sports and Entertainment Authority Executive Director Dennis Bickmeyer as he joins Bob Black on the Sports Huddle. For more information on Henrico Sports and Event Center calendar, visit online at henricosea.com or tune in to the last Wednesday of each month for the Henrico Huddle on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. West Cary Sports Bar is the perfect spot to catch a VCU Rams game, college basketball, soccer, NBA, or the Winter Olympic Games. Robinson and Cherry Street in the Fan. Online at westcarysportsbar.com.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Sky Rizzy to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Sky Rizzy, Rizyclizumab Rizzy, a prescription only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with rest, joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Sky Rizzy, there's nothing like clear skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Sky Rizzy today and visit skyrizzy.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZY to learn more.
Every headline sounds different when you explain what it actually means.
That's the Sports Huddle with Matt and Bob, weekdays 4 to 6 on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill here on this Tuesday morning, February 10th. We've got Olympic sports updates coming at you each and every day. They are brought to you by Radkey Insurance. Get your free quote started today at radkeyinsurance.com. Coming up later on tonight, Richmond plays host to George Mason in a little A-10 clash. Pete Mason, you're no rivalry runs through to love for George Mason. Get these guys out of here. Coverage begins 6:30 tonight on ESPN Richmond. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. Richmond comes in a little bit of a losing streak, and by a little bit, it's a 6-game losing streak. Things have gotten real tough for Richmond. They had an 82-77 setback on the road against Rhode Island on Saturday. That dropped them to 3-8 in A-10 play, 13-11 overall. This
this was a team coming into conference play 7 games above 500. They were 10-3 coming into conference play. And since then, they have hit a rough patch. Their lone wins in Atlantic 10 play: Fordham, St. Bonaventure, and LaSalle. LaSalle was their last win of the season, came back on January 14th. They got a tough stretch here with a game against George Mason, and then a Saturday Valentine's Day showdown with VCU. So you've got 2 of the top teams in the Atlantic 10 over the next 2. They're going to need a valiant effort from A.J. Lopez, from Mike Walls. If they want to snap this losing streak, they are skidding in a major way. Offensively, they're fine, middle of the pack in the Atlantic 10, but man, defensively, they have really struggled, ranked 14th in the Atlantic 10 in defensive efficiency this season. They've got to find some sort of answer. They want to pull out a win.
Defense is about effort. I mean, that's the one thing that's universal in every sport you play. Yeah. Baseball, soccer, boxing, you could go to basketball, football, doesn't matter. People who play good defense are typically giving max effort.
Yeah, because offensively, they're not bad, right? Like 77 points last time out. Right against Davidson. It was a bad game.
Yeah, no, that was a bad shit.
Coach he was on our show last week, and he kind of said that. He was just like, that was one of the worst.
The UW game wasn't a great shooting game for them either.
Well, they still put up 69, not great, not terrible.
It was a grind to 69.
But they just defensively have not really been able to stop anyone. We'll catch up with head coach Chris Mooney later on this week. You can hear that conversation on Friday. We'll have an interview with Coach Mooney each and every week for the remainder of the season as the Spiders get set for the Atlantic 10 tournament. At this point, you're just trying to get a better seed going into that tournament. There's no way you're winning the Atlantic 10, but you can still position yourself a little bit better than you are right now. You've got winnable games remaining. You've got a St. Bonaventure game. You've already beaten them once. You've got a Loyola Chicago game. You've got Duquesne, a couple of teams outside the top 100 in KenPom. So you've got a couple of winnable games left. It's how do you respond in the 3 remaining games against Mason, ECU, and Dayton, teams inside the top 100. We'll get the first answer tonight. Coverage begins 6:30 p.m. right here on ESPN Richmond. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. as George Mason comes into town. Mason currently riding the high of being the alma mater of the quad god. Ilya, I can't pronounce his last name, but the really good figure skater from Vienna, Virginia, graduated from Mason. They're really riding that right now.
Tough. I was going to root for that.
Yeah,
you shouldn't have told me that.
Yeah, you got to vote. You are rooting for a George Mason guy.
Country over.
We're ready to see it. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to Fitz. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. The new Sports Huddle, 4 p.m. to 6. Leads you into the coverage of the Spiders and a special edition of the Lake Louise Jr. Show tonight after the Spiders game. Fitz the Bill.
Your home for Richmond Spiders athletics all year round. W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV HD2 Richmond. We are 106.1 ESPN.